Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who have taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. All right. I'm Ariel Zabat out of the GMS Dallas camp, and I'm going to entitle this lesson here, No One is Saved Until the Coming of Our Lord Yahweh. Okay? No one is saved until the coming of the Lord Yahweh. All right? What inspired me to go into this lesson today is, we always talk about how the Israelites are going to be receiving salvation. Okay? But on the other end, you still have, our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in a state of mind of these different philosophies, like Christianity being one of them, where everyone that's in that mindset believes that they're saved already, So I want to touch on that point, with some precepts, okay? So let's go ahead and grab Mark, the 13th chapter. All right. And let's start from verse. Okay. Just to give you a little context, this is Yahweh Shai prophesying to the disciples. Okay. And about, the last days, the end times. Okay. So I'm going to start from verse 10. Okay. And it reads, and the gospel must be published among all nations. Okay. And it's talking about this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, because as a people, before Yahweh Shai returned, all right, we're still scattered, all right, amongst all the nations. Well, you have the scattering of the Israelites, us being Israelite foreigners, okay? But the southern kingdom at that time, there was one more captivity that had to take place, okay? So, Yahweh Shai is letting the disciples know that, hey, because they thinking, and we're going to get to it. I'm just moving a little too fast, but let's just touch on a few things here. The gospel had to be preached into all the world, all right, amongst all nations, because we were scattered. The Israelites were scattered amongst all the nations in captivity, all right. Verse 11, and it reads, but when they shall lead you and deliver you up, take no thought beforehand what you shall what you shall speak. Neither do ye premeditate, but whatsoever shall be given you in that hour, that speak ye. For it is not ye that speak, but the Holy Spirit, okay? Which letting you know this is a future prophecy too, because Yahweh Shai replied first about this. The gospel has to be preached first, and then these things are going to happen, okay? So this letting you know that even in that time, we're going to be receiving spiritual power, Lord willing, we those men and women, okay, when we are taken up, for this gospel, okay? And this is how we know Christianity, and that it's not it, because this has been preached in all over, and nobody's being snatched up for Christianity, okay? All right. And it reads in verse 12, now the brother shall betray the brother to death, and the father the son, and children shall rise up against their parents, and shall cause them to be put to death. Okay. So, these are prophecies that, the disciples, was prophesied to by Yahweh Shai, that these things were going to take place. Okay. And we're in them latter days, where these prophecies are beginning to speak. Okay. You got the YNs, these millennials, okay, today, this generation here. Uh, you know, it's like that now because of the rules and regulations of Babylon the Great on raising these kids, where the woman decided to kick the man out of the house and take the benefits from Esau, Edom. Now these babies are growing up without fathers, learning from their mothers only, not knowing how to conduct themselves, man. Okay, we're like some degenerate people, man. Okay, that's a curse to not have your family growing up. All right. So you do have these things where these kids, man, they they got some spirits on them, man. All right. They don't, they beginning to act like women and feminine, taking these characteristics of their mom, you know, having fits. And then you got the women out of order, trying to lead because, the benefits were given to them. So they feel like since they get the household, they have a home that Esau Edom has given them, okay, through welfare, that they can control a man, all right? Because the man is kicked out of the house and the woman, she get education, all of these things, thinks she on top of the world, okay? But, here it is, January the 1st is approaching quickly, okay? Where, our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay, DJ, your president, he about to start kicking you Jakes out, man. Then, if you don't have a roof over your head, how you gonna be under the rules and regulations of SNAP? Okay, yeah, you can get it, but you're gonna have to be doing these things. How you gonna be doing these things and you're homeless? Okay. So you in a no-win situation without Yahweh Shah, man. Okay. So the men of the Lord, which are the prophets today, okay, that's out there on the highways and byways, we're a product of what's happening right here. Okay. So what's gonna happen? The father, we're gonna read again. Now the brother shall betray the brother to the death, and the father the son. And the children shall rise up against their parents and shall cause them to be put to death. Okay? These kids are spoiled. They want what they want. All right? They don't want to have nothing to do with the Lord. They were not taught. They were told in these Christian philosophies, okay, these churches, these whorehouses, you don't have to keep the laws. Now look at them. You got a whole bunch of monsters running around, man. And now that there's wisdom, knowledge, and understanding going out, okay, there's no one wants to take heed, man. So what do you have? A bunch of wicked 2/3 niggas. All right. And I'm speaking to you, Jakes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You see? Verse 13, the point, the reason why I brought this out. All right. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. Why? Because it is truth, man. This is what Yahweh Shah is saying. Because of this gospel that we preaching, okay, only the Israelites can be saved. This here is like this is detriment to these nations, okay, and these heathens, and even to the wicked 2/3 of our people, because they want to save everybody after they done been beat down by these heathens, man, trying to fit into their captivity while they in submission, in oppression, okay? So Jake trying to get a little bit of anything he can. If he can get him a apartment, a Hellcat, all right, he's good. He don't want the kingdom. So guess what? He gonna be hated. We're gonna be hated by them as well because of this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding we have. This truth, okay, that's going out from this awakening. All right. And you shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah's sake. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Okay. So no one is saved yet. All right. Because we got to figure out what the end is. You see? Let's get that word endure real quick. Let's go to the blue letter. And then I also want to get it in etymology. Okay. This is Strong's G5278. And it's, you pronounce it hoop umno. Hoop umino. Okay. And it means to remain, to tarry behind, to remain, abide, not recede, or flee, to preserve under misfortunes and trials, to hold fast on one's faith in Hamashiach and Yahushua. Okay. To endure, bear bravely and calmly. Ill treatments. Okay. Strong's definition, it means to stay under, behind, remain, figuratively, to undergo and bear. Okay. Have fortified, preserve, abide, and endure. Suffer. That's going to take place. Patiently. Tarry behind. All right. So we have to endure to the end, man. Meaning that all of these things we're going to suffer. Okay. You have to be patient. You know, we're seeing these prophecies that's coming to pass, seeming like they're not moving fast enough, although they're moving, you know, with Jacob's trouble, the MOTB, which is bringing in that NWO to usher in the MOTB, that RFID micro C-hip, okay? And World War III, man, all of these prophecies are right before our eyes, all right? But we have to endure all of that. Meanwhile, while we enduring, okay, Jake, we're going to be catching hell, man. The Israelite men, the prophets. Okay. You see? So no one right now is saved. Okay. And I have it pulled up here in the etymology. And it means to undergo or suffer. Okay. Without breaking. Because that's how you're going to endure. He said, endure to the end. Don't break. To continue in existence, make hard, harden, bear, tolerate, keep up, maintain. You see? So that comes with enduring, man. All right. So no one is saved yet. All right. So let's get Acts, the first chapter. Okay. And we're going to start from verse 6. You see? Because this is going into, you know, Yahushua, man. All right. This is going into the ascension, man, where when Yahushua ascended, but he had left up some words with the disciples, man. And we're going to read it. This is Acts chapter 1, verse 6. And this is when Yahushua had rose again from the dead, okay, through his death, burial, and resurrection. Verse 6, when they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? See, he didn't say, this is not for the other nations. Okay. The disciples, except for Judas Iscariot, okay, because he had killed himself. Okay. The other disciples, they was asking, hey, are you going to restore the kingdom to us? Okay. Because they in captivity, man. You see that? So no one was saved. And let's see what Yahushua had to say. Okay. In verse 7, and he said unto them that he was Yahushua, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons Salakia, verse 7 again. And he said unto them, which is Yahushua, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons, which the Father had put in his own power. So basically he's saying, no, not now. Because we had some prophecies that had to take place. Okay, like Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. All right, starting with verse 68. Okay, we had to go into our captivity again by ships that hadn't taken place during this time. You see, when the disciples, when Yahushua was on the scene. Okay, this is AD right now after his death. Okay, so this is something that the Father have power over. Okay, you see, verse 8, and it reads, "But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and you shall be witnesses unto me, both in Jerusalem and in all Judea, and in Samaria, and unto the uttermost part of the earth." And that's going into the Americas right there. All right. Because we had to be brought into captivity. Okay. That's why the Holy Spirit was given unto us to be our comforter. All right. And that we read in Mark, the 13th chapter, that the gospel had to be preached in all the world. You see, it makes sense now. This gospel has to be preached into all the world, then the end shall come. But during this time, the disciples was on the scene, and the so-called Negroes hadn't been delivered unto the Edomites yet. Okay, they had to flee into Jerusalem, into the mountains from Jerusalem, the desolation. Okay, from the Romans that you can read about in Luke 21 and 24. Luke 21 chapter verse 24. You see? Verse 9, and it reads, because this is the ascension, man. All right. So after Yahushua, let them know that no, the kingdom is not going to be restored unto you now because it's not time. All right. There was another more captivity that had to be taking place. All right. Which is over here in Babylon the Great, the Americas. All right. In verse 9, and it reads, "And when he had spoken these things, that he is Yahushua, while they beheld, he was taken up." So that's how we're going to be delivered. Showing you that nobody is saved. He was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. All right. So now let's get, this is how, the chosen and the elect going to be saved. All right. Let's get 1 Thessalonians, because it's going to go in depth into what's taking place right there. The same thing's going to happen with the chosen and the elect. All right. On the coming of the Lord. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. We'll start at verse 14. And it reads, "For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again," okay, that's his death, burial, and resurrection. Listen to what that says. If we believe, okay, because you have a lot of camps that don't be pushing Yahushua. They just be pushing the law. You see that? You got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, according to Judges 5 and 11. We rehearse the righteous acts, but we can't keep them perfectly. Not in these bodies, man. We can't keep them nowhere near perfect. We're not even in our holy land. You see? That's why we have to believe in Yahushua, death, burial, and resurrection. This is what this grace period is time for. Because if we was judged by the law, we'll all perish, man. We didn't all transgress the law. Verse 14, "For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep," those are the brothers and sisters that died in the faith, "Yahushua will sleep in Yahushua," meaning that those who died in the faith, "will the Most High bring with him." Okay. So those who died in faith going to be brought to the Most High. Verse 15, "For this we say unto you by the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord Yahushua, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, shall not prevent them which are asleep, which means who have died in the faith. Okay? So the ones that so let me read that again. For this we say unto you by the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, shall not prevent them which are asleep, which meaning that those that are in the faith. Okay? Verse 16 is going to expound on that. For Yahweh Shem Yahushua himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. Okay? And I go into that all the time. You get that in Revelation 11 and 12, when he say, come up hither. That's what that shout is. And then also in Revelation 18 and 4, when he say, come out of her, my people. That's that shout. Okay? Verse 16 again, for the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first, the ones who died in the faith. Okay? And then verse 17, and it reads, then we which are alive, meaning that the ones that are still here, as we read in the beginning in Mark, the 13th chapter, but he that endured to the end, the same shall be saved. These are the ones that are alive and remain, shall be caught up together, okay, with them in the clouds, meaning that the dead in Hamashiach going to rise first, the dead, those who died in the faith, the elect, okay, and then the ones who are remaining alive, who endured to the end, who believed in Yahweh Shai, who didn't fall out the truth, who didn't change the doctrine, okay, who was sincere, okay, kept the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of their ability, and had faith in Yahweh Shai through his death, burial, and resurrection. All right. And it reads, to meet them in the air. Okay. So those clouds are the chariots, man. Then we, again from the top, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds. All right. So those clouds are the chariots, man. We're gonna get that. This is 2 Kings, okay, chapter 2, and I think it's at verse 13, and it reads, verse 12, and it reads, and Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof, and he saw him no more. This is when Elijah was translated, okay, was taken into a chariot. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. All right. And verse 11 goes into, matter of fact, let me go ahead and read verse 11 so you can understand it better. This is 2 Kings chapter 2 and verse 11. And it reads, and it came to pass as they still went on and talked that, behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into the heaven. That's in the chariot. Okay. He was taken. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, not another nation, but of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. Okay. So that chariot, that cloud, is the chariots of Israel, man, that the elect is going to be abducted into, man. It's going to be ascended into to meet the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord. Okay. You see that? And let's see what's going to happen. We're going to get that because, you know, when they're taken in the air, you're going to have death and destruction being taking place here in Babylon the Great, because the main deliverance is going to be here in America. Okay, you're going to have chaos going in the other parts of the earth, you know, missiles going off here and there. We know over there in the Holy Land, it's going to get bombed, but, you know, it's going to get rebuilt. Okay, America is going to be desolated. Although when the salvation here take place, that hasn't happened yet because no one is saved yet. All right. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai hadn't came yet, man. This is a future prophecy. You see? But let's see what's going to happen. Let's get Zechariah, the 13th chapter. We're going to start from verse 8. And it reads, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land which is in America, said Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die." Those are the Israelites, man. Okay? "But the third shall be left therein." All right? So that's going into the elect being saved. All right? "And I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined." Okay? So when these chariots are taking up the elect, okay, which is this 1/3 here, okay, and mainly in Babylon the Great, man, through that the nuclear missile and the destruction and the laser beams from the chariots, that concentrated heat, they're gonna be brought through that fire, man. "And I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined." That's being saved and delivered. Because when you enter into that cloud in the twinkling of an eye, like we just read in 1 Thessalonians 4, the 4th chapter, 14 through 17, okay, that's the deliverance that's taking place. "And will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people." And the people of the Lord are the Israelites, man. You get that in Exodus 3 and 10. Okay? "And they shall say, Yahweh is my power." Because they're going to be happy that they've been delivered, man. And let's get Isaiah 26 and 20. It's going to show you that. This is Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 20. And it reads, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut the doors about thee." These are the chosen and the elect that are saved, okay? That gets delivered, that endure into the end, okay? "Hide thyself as if it were for a little moment." Why? "Until the indignation be overpassed." Okay, that's what we just read in Zechariah the 13th chapter, okay? So that death and destruction, that's his righteous anger. "For behold, the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushua cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain." You see? Now let's go back to Acts. Okay. Let's go back to Acts 1. All right. We're going to start from verse 9. We're going to read that again. And it reads, "And when he, with that he is Yahushua, had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up into a chariot. And a cloud received him out of their sight." Verse 10, "And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up," so they was watching this like, wow, they was amazed. "Behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel." Okay. These are angels, messengers, "which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same Yahushua, which is taken up from you into heaven, so shall come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven." So the same way he went up, the same way you gonna go up. See? He said, "In like manner as you have seen him go into heaven, so shall come when he's coming in the clouds." That's in Revelation 1 and 7. "Behold, he coming with the clouds. Every eye shall see him." You see? So no one is saved until the coming of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. All right. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. And with that, I want to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem Ra'ah Kodash. Again, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who have taught us this truth and rule well. Peace and salutations to the chosen and the elect. Shalom.